Welcome. I'm Kirsten,
I'm Sam.
and we're here to chew the metaphysical fat. Woohoo! So,
Yes,
Sam,
yeah.
I'm going to let you do the introductions today. We
Right,
have,
Lizzie.
well, go. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you're in for a treat today. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sleep deprived. Kirsten's fabulous, and today we've got the wonderful Betsy, who is an astrologer, an all-around superstar, and she's a bit of stuff with shamanism as well, which I'm always into. So yeah, let's have her on.
All right, here she comes. Yay! Hi, Betsy.
Welcome to the Metaphysical
Welcome.
Phat podcast. We're so happy to have you on.
Oh, thank you. I love that we're doing this on Venus Day. I love that we're doing this on Venus in Taurus Day. It's like perfect, like a Venusian holiday.
Like an extra sensual, yeah, bar of chocolate or something, isn't it? You want to just rub it all over yourself.
That would actually be really nice. A bubble bath and a bar of chocolate would be perfect.
I mean, it depends who's rubbing it, to be fair, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, we're getting a bit off here. You can tell it's Venus Day. Is that get your Twix and rub it on my body? No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. I just got Twix this morning. Stop. Are you reading my mind already?
Oh my God.
She does that all the time. All right. Well, when we started off, when we were talking before we came on here, we were talking about what a wild couple of weeks it's been, right?
Yeah. It's been really like energy is off the charts crazy.
Yeah.
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 I mean, what have you been going through?
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, it's the bloody delay. We'll get it figured at some point. Yeah. We were just saying, what kind of stuff have you been like kind of feeling and experiencing with the crazy energy?
Well, so on top of all, just like May was really rough for me in general, just like physically, but the energy behind it was like it would fluctuate between being really, really sad and having to release a whole bunch of stuff and then just elated. Like if you are not a grounded person, you're probably having a lot of psychosis symptoms right now. There's a lot of illusion going on. Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries now, and they're literally on top of each other, and it's going to be like that for weeks, actually months, maybe even. I'd have to go look at my notes again, but it's having to deal with the illusion of things and still being in reality at the same time. And there's a lot of people that, I mean, like I know that people live in the real world and they don't live on social media like a lot of people will do. But just watching the things that go on social media, we were talking about that earlier too, and like all of the fights happening. And I mean, it's just, that's kind of what's going on right now. Everybody's trying to stand up for themselves, but what's real and what's fake? Like we can't even tell the difference between the two. And I think that a lot of psychosis is probably happening because there's not a lot of grounding.
Is that like the illusion that, because that's the thing with illusion, isn't it? There's a really fine line between what's an actual illusion that we're living in and what's just like a dream. Because we've got to have dreams, but we've also got to kind of, like you said, ground them in reality. And I think that's the disparity, isn't it? You find with people and where the psychosis occurs because they can't quite find the middle point. Because it's a fine line to walk, isn't it?
It is a very fine line to walk. And the waking up that's happening with so many people. It's you can see the split too. You can see the way that the division is happening in a really big way. The split between, even in like the spiritual world where, you can see like who is actually grounded, who's doing the work, who's paying attention to their own self-awareness. And then on the other side, it's just complete like love and light. That's either really love and light or really dark feminine or dark mask, or, that kind of like, I can heal you. Let me be your healer, like the aggressive healer type, like can't help themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to fix you. let me fix you because I can't fix myself, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Projection 101.
There is a lot of, and like, I mean, I have been, let me toot my own horn.
Do it. We're all for that.
That's why
that's what this is all about, right? So
That's
I have
right.
a YouTube channel, Fearless Intuition, and I started it in 2017, and it just exploded. I was not, didn't really even like the first video that I put up, I think I recorded it 4 different times before I finally put it up. And I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And like within the first week, I had 10,000 subscribers. It was insane the way that it happened. And so I knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing. And so I've been helping people a really long time. And I had to learn really, really early on that the things that I was saying to people to help them had to be something I had already embodied. Otherwise, what the hell place in anyone's world did I have to give anybody advice that I didn't already? So I was literally doing the deep healing for myself while I was helping other people. And you don't realize that that's what you have to do. You know, you have to be able to, you have to be willing to do that deep healing. Because if you're just out here telling everybody, you know, like do all these meditations or do this or, you know, do these hypnosis and all of that, and you haven't done your own work, then you're going to create the psychosis in those people with those tools. So yeah.
And in yourself, because you did, like you said,
Yeah.
I think we wanted a conversation actually, Betsy, and you once said to me, you know, when you were doing teaching workshops and stuff, like you'd have a theme, and I found this ever since. It's really come up for me in a big way. And whenever you're gonna like, so say I'd do like, if I'd have like a theme that'd come up, or like a run of tweets or whatever, because I'm always like kind of channeling, and it's like they give me on Monday, say like just something that I'd post, and then by the end of the fucking week, I'd been up, down, round, all around the houses, and completely lived this topic. So I could talk to it, you know, I could talk about it within an inch of my life, basically. Mm-hmm. So it's always kind of like, be careful what you wish for as well, because you're literally going to be served your own medicine.
That's so true, boy. Yeah, and you know, I found that too, and you can tell the difference once you really get to discern. You can tell the difference between somebody who's done the work and somebody who's just mouthing platitudes read in a New Age book. And it's really because
absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's so good to point out. Absolutely. Sorry. I just
you said that. Thank you for it. I've nearly choked myself. Go on. Sorry.
That's right. So that's one of the things that time where you, and once you've done some of your own healing, you can start to see that. And I think all of us, when we start out on the healing journey to help other people heal, don't realize actually what we're stepping into until we actually step into it. And the universe will ask you to embody what you're doing. And if you don't, then you're not really helping anyone, including yourself. So I think that was a point, Betsy. I am seeing that split more and more. Like I just, even getting on social media, I try to avoid, like I throw out some tweets and then I go away. But I've been seeing the difference. Like, you know, it's becoming more and more obvious where the split is happening. So, and I guess it's going to get more and more obvious as we go on through this insane whatever we're doing here with all this.
Well, we had with like astrology wise, we have an entire generational shift happening this year. And, you know, us astrologers, I'm just going to put us all into a category together, told everybody, like warned everybody, like there's going to be some shit that goes down in 2025. There are going to be some really pretty rainbow days, but there's going to be some, you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening. And everybody was like, don't fearmonger us. I'm like, all right, then I won't say anything. And then it started happening. And it's like, okay, you know, are you guys going to listen or are you just going to whine that things are happening now? But I mean, like literally, we went through an entire generational shift. Nothing is going to be the same after this year. And we can see that happening in real time. And it's unfortunate that it's an entire cartoon, that like, I mean, it's not really unfortunate because it's kind of entertaining at the same time, but yeah, I mean, it's just like that humanity has to see themselves kind of fall apart. You know, you guys are watching the pendulum swing that direction. Am I not correct in that saying?
I've exited social media because I'm a fucking nut job. Just putting it out there. I can't be trusted on social media at the moment. I fully embrace the crazy. Every day I get up and I'm like, right, what 5 personalities are we going to pick today? It's just kind of how it is, isn't it? And I think the biggest thing is it's letting go of the resistance to it. And you made a really good point. That's the great thing about astrology. It isn't doom mongering. It's looking at the transit and saying, what are the themes? What can I do to prepare for them?
The patterns.
Yeah.
You got to look at the patterns from history. You got to look at all, you know, the patterns from humans. Like, we are the most, what's the word? It just came right out of my head, but like, you know what we're going to do. What's that word? You know, like you can see already what we're going to do. What's up?
Predictable or suggestible? Yes. Or
predictable. That's it. I have holes in my brain. It happens all the time. But yeah, that's what like humans are the most predictable. Like we're always going to repeat the shitty patterns that we have until we heal. And you can clearly see we haven't healed. So yeah.
And that's the thing though, isn't it? It's a spiral. Go on, sorry, Kirsty.
It is. It's a spiral. Yeah, well, I was just going to say that what we're witnessing right now is the healing crisis of our entire collective, because everything's just going nuts and everything is going to shit, not real shit. But
I mean, maybe.
Depends if you get chronic diarrhea from it, doesn't it? Really depends how upset you are.
I mean, there is some purging that goes on in every way, and sometimes real shit is part of that. But but it really is, you know, I think, and I've been trying to tell people that because so many people are just flipping their lids, but I think also just the energy is just causing that. And you can really see it. I mean, I've been seeing the split really since 2020, but it's becoming so super clear now that, you know, who's done their work and who hasn't.
Yeah.
And I think of astrology as a way to navigate rather than like, oh, I'm going to have to be like this because the stars say it. It's like, no, it's a tool.
Oh,
it's
no, the stars are doing it. And that's why you are that way. It's not like I'm going to be like this because the stars said so. No, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You feel this way because the stars are this way. But yeah, like people, and that's really people think that way. Like, you know, just pointing that out is like, I appreciate that you pointed that out, because it's not that you're doing something because like Venus is in Taurus, so you're going to act this way. No, Venus is in Taurus. So we literally, like, you're going to see on Twitter, you're going to see more food on the timeline. You're going to see people talking about sex more on the timeline. You're going to see people wanting to show off their new outfits that they have for the summer on the timeline. Like, I mean, if I'm wrong, then you can tell me later. But I mean, that's what astrology does.
Girl, I've just come in here and talked about rubbing Twixes over my boobs. It's definitely Venus in Taurus. I'm telling you now.
Exactly. Such a Taurus theme. I mean, who doesn't like a little bit of caramel and chocolate?
People are going to get the wrong idea, or they might get the right. They might get the right idea.
Especially with their coffee in the morning. I mean, it's.
I'm drinking coffee and it's like 6:20 at night in England.
That's so something I would do too. And I'll still fall asleep by 10. Really well.
See, if I drink coffee at 6, I'm going to be up all night.
I've got ADHD and nothing can take me down. No, I'm kidding.
In fact, those stimulants will come down more. It's like, give me a stimulant and I'll go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same as like the ADHD meds, isn't it? Like Ritalin and stuff. It's just basically like an amphetamine.
It is. It's meth.
I mean, I did a brief stint in my 20s with it. I'm not gonna say it's a good thing. Don't try it at home. But yeah, it gave me a bit of clarity.
No, it really does. I was on Adderall for probably a good decade. and had to wean myself off of it. Do not recommend. But it was, I mean, I got some shit done in that decade. I like raised a whole family while working 80-hour weeks and lost a whole bunch of weight and made sure that it was on the table. And like I had 3 boys and then I ended up having another baby. I mean, it was insane. So yeah,
It's crazy.
That decade was a really productive decade, but I exhausted myself by doing.
I was gonna say, do you feel like you've literally had to like kind of like, this is what I, because obviously I've talked about my own fibro and chronic fatigue and all that jazz. For me, it's like I've been going up, push, and then like God has just gone, no, on your ass, stop, no more. And I've literally been put on my bottom to like go, all right, well, what were I actually avoiding? What were I running from? What are my patterns? What are my behaviours? How I've been burning the candle at both ends. What do I need to look at? Diet, exercise, the whole shebang. And it literally took me to be bedridden. I mean, I used to cry because I used to be like nearly crawling to the toilet because I just didn't have the energy to move. And I'd just be like, oh, I can't live like this. And obviously, it's horrible. And some people are like that for years and years and years. And I was really lucky because I thought, do you know what? What's it trying to tell me? And that's what it is. It's like it brings you to a crisis point, doesn't it? Because you can't do it forever.
Yeah. That has been a big theme in my life for the last 4 years. And I guess I could just talk about what my diagnosis and stuff in April of 2021. I had a blood clot in my brain after having a migraine for like a month. I was the kind of person that just kept going. Like it didn't matter that I had a headache. It didn't matter that my body needed to sleep. It didn't matter that my eyesight was like starting to go. Like I just kept going. And I went until I couldn't go anymore. And literally the day that I drove myself to the hospital with no peripheral vision.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Drove myself to the hospital. And that I don't remember. I don't remember driving my son to school that morning. I don't remember driving myself to the hospital. I know I got there. And I don't remember most of the emergency room except when I threw up after they gave me morphine because I was in so much pain. So they had admitted me, and then a doctor finally said, we're going to do an MRI on your brain. They found a blood clot back here, and it was so bad that it had built up fluid all in my head, and it was pushing on my eyes. And like when I went to see an eye doctor, I had to wear these sunglasses actually for months because even inside I couldn't, my eyes were so sensitive, and it still happens. I have to wear these glasses. I've had a migraine all week. So I don't have one today, but it still happens. My brain is very sensitive. And then a couple months after that, they diagnosed me with a really rare bone marrow cancer called myelofibrosis. And it's so rare that like, it's not as rare as it used to be. It's starting to grow more in like younger people like me. It's supposed to be an old person's disease. But there's like 25,000 people in the world that have it now, I think. And then there's more people that have the precursors. There's a couple of like blood disorders that you get before. It's a cancer that evolves, and it evolves very slowly. So it starts off as like this just blood disease, and then it just destroys your bone marrow. So it stops your immune system, and it stops making red blood cells. So mine created too many platelets. And so now we have to figure out like why my platelets are like 1 million when they're supposed to be in the 300,000. So yeah, so I traveled the country and to find a doctor that knew more about it than I did. And I finally found it in New York. And so it's been a really long journey and really exhausting. But just knowing what I had to do, it wasn't just about figuring out the physical aspects. It was literally figuring out like, where did the trauma come from? If I have a rare bone marrow cancer, literally in the foundation of my body, what was the foundation in my life? Where did that come from? And I pinpointed those traumas, and I went to those traumas. I do a lot of shamanic work with other people and myself. I started doing shamanic work with myself first, because that's what you do. You don't automatically start working on other people just because you've gone through a shamanic, initiation, whatever you want to call it. I didn't even have to have somebody call me a shaman. It just happened. And it's like people seek that out instead of letting it seek them out. And I think that that's like another thing that, we find in the world. But creating the safe healing space for yourself inside is what your body's trying to tell you when that happens. When you're being forced, it's like you need to create a safe healing space inside so you're no longer sick.
Exactly.
Because you didn't have it when you were younger. You never learned. Like when I was younger, and I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. When I was younger, I would literally shut down and withdraw because my emotions were too big. I'm a very expressive person, and my family is just like, you are loud. Like, you're loud and you're big and you're way too much. Like, go away. So I learned to be smaller. And I think that when we do that, we literally create the disease as a child within ourselves that make our adult diseases more prevalent. And so you have to look at yourself and be like, what did I not get as a child that I need today? And I know why I was angry. I know whose anger I was holding on to and containing my whole life. And I decided to let it go. I decided that it was not worth my health and my survival to hold on to bitterness and rage and anger. And I'm going to cry. Even with myself, I didn't, I had to let go of the bitterness and rage and the anger that I had with myself too. And that's what your body is telling you. And I love that you're listening to it, by the way.
Thank you. That was so beautifully put. It really was. It was really, really, really beautiful to witness. And you made so many good points in there about the safe space, and that's been a massive theme. And it's really funny because Betsy did me a little bit of she did me a proper reading. You did me my solar return, and you were like, next year you're going to be like healing in public. And I was like, but that shit, no, I'm not. And here I am, on my magical mystery tour, wild adventure, getting to talk to wonderful people like you and share their stories as well. So it was really a privilege. But the thing that's kind of been coming up, because I've been on that shamanic path and the shamanic healing, and it's really going in your own depths and sitting in your own darkness. And it isn't darkness as though it's really bad. It's the unknown, and the darkness is also really beautiful, and it's also full of light and information. And you need to be able to hold that space, like you said, within you, to be able to, you learn to create a container, basically. And that's what you're doing. You're creating a safe, energetic container in full presence. And then when you've done it with yourself, then you can extend it to other people.
And other people extend it to you. Yeah.
Yes. That's so beautiful and so perfectly put, both of you. And I'm really glad you're saying this, Betsy, because I see so many people who want to heal, but they're like, well, just get rid of my symptoms and I'll be fine, right? And of course, we've been taught that, but actually the symptoms are what we really need to look at and sit with and say, how is this serving me and what is it telling me? Because you're never going to truly heal if you're just masking your symptoms. That's a false healing, because the symptoms are not really the problem. They're just indicative of a problem. They're just your body saying, I need to detoxify, or your spirit saying, I need to detoxify. And then you've got to go in and find that if you really want to heal it. And it does often start in childhood, almost always, because we have all these traumas, particularly when we're children. So thank you for saying that, Betsy. And Sam, that was totally beautifully put too, creating that container for yourself to sit with your darkness. And we've been taught to be really frightened of the darkness. And especially like we were talking about before in the spiritual community is like, oh, you must be love and light. And if you're not love and light, then there's something wrong with you. You're just giving us doom and gloom. You're just bringing us down, man. Stop it. And it's like you have to find that balance, because it's not really about being all love and light, and it's certainly not about being all darkness and gloom and doom. It's finding that balance between them and becoming the middle pillar, as we've talked about in many times. And I just love that. I love what both of you are saying about that, because it really is the most important part of healing, is looking at that darkness and trying to balance it and integrate it, rather than just letting it destroy you.
Bester. Joe, I really enjoyed Kirsten with your bit there. I mean, it was brilliantly put. The live and light stoner spirituality, because that's what it is. It's like, yeah, man, let's get really high and pretend everything's all right. And it's like, it's great for an hour, but then, what are you going to do when you come back down?
Right.
Eat a biscuit, get stoned again. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong getting stoned, because, I'm a proponent for the old marijuana, but medicinal, isn't it?
We're good. Yeah, it is. It is medicinal, but you got to balance it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm just love and light all the time.
We should really just have a podcast where we're just all smoking. And can you imagine the conversation? We would interrupt each other constantly.
Oh, we just wouldn't say anything. We'd just be like, yeah, what did you say? I mean, Kirsten knew that, to be honest. I'd be like,
I'll send you snacks before it happens, and then we'll just eat snacks.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the snacks. So anybody that didn't know Betsy, go follow her on Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah, she is the most fucking amazing cook this side, not even this side, because I'm in a different country, but that side of the Atlantic. She's just phenomenal. Some of the stuff you make, honestly, I'm like, Jesus, I'm on a diet, Betsy, and I'm looking at all this good shit, and I'm like,
what though? But I'm on a diet too. So the stuff that I'm making is actually like okay to eat sometimes. Well, sometimes the stuff I made yesterday, I made really good cookies yesterday, and I literally ate half of it, and I was like, I should not be eating this. I'm going to be all swollen and inflamed tomorrow. So yeah, so I didn't eat the whole thing, but I was going to say the reason why I've always loved cooking, but the reason why I have dug myself so deep into it is to heal. The way that I can explain this, the only way that I can explain this is my soul literally tells me what I got to do. And I learned a long time ago, especially when I started the channel, the YouTube channel, and even a little bit before that, I guess I learned that I have to listen to my soul, because it wasn't fucking playing around with me anymore. It was done with my garbage. It was done with me. Like, I think I need to be like a wife and mother and all that, and just that, and only that, and PTA and like all that business. And my soul was distraught. And it's like, no, we have to do this. And it does it in very specific, very interesting ways. And I have learned not to say no anymore. So when I was getting the call to come to New York, a part of that was because I knew that I was going to be able to eat healthier here. And I would be able to have like farm fresh stuff. Like the specific spot that I chose to live in was because I knew that I could get farm delivery every single week, like fresh milk, fresh cream, fresh meat, fresh eggs. My eggs right now are $6 a dozen. I don't know what everybody else is paying, but 50 cents an egg right now is like pretty good. So, I mean, that was like the whole reason for me to really dig into learning how to cook better and feed myself better, and learning like from an ancestral, like I really dug deep, and these are my ancestors, and this is where I came from. And like my ancestors are French. They're from the south of France. It's in the Mediterranean. I have to start eating more like saturated fats and like things like that. I started learning how to make all of my crackers and noodles and everything, so I'm not getting processed, any preservatives or any processed food from the store anymore. The stuff that I get from the store are like vegetables and condiments. If I don't like, if I can't get it from the farm, I'll get it from the store. But it's so that was the, that like I literally do things in my life because the purpose in my life is me. And if I want to survive this, then I'm going to do things. And I realize that the way I'm going to survive this is through love. And loving myself is treating myself better and eating better. And in turn, I also have had a lot of love come towards me doing that, and that's what people don't understand is when you literally start doing things to love yourself and not just talking about it, not just saying it on social media, I love myself, and not just like surface level, I love my, like really being like, who am I? What type of blood do I have? What type of bones do I have? What type of muscles do I, where did I come from? What's my skin? What's my hair? What's all of those things, right? Like when you really start getting to know yourself and loving yourself and realizing like, oh shit, like I was taught a total opposite way. It is like a natural progression of finding love in your life. And like you two, like the way that your hearts are and the way that we connect is, you don't find that with everybody. That's not something, and that's just because we love in the same way. Our hearts are big and we give, and it's a really beautiful thing to be able to get there. So that's why and I love that everybody loves my food, and I love that everybody enjoys like seeing all of it, and that's really it just kind of, it brings joy to me to be able to do that as well. Like I can't wait to be able to feed people. That's one of the things that I want to be able to do is feed people healthy food.
The Venus Cafe.
Yeah. And it's needed.
Yeah, it does. It looks amazing. I'm the same as Sam. I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. And I love that you can
I'm coming to New York to eat with you. I'm telling you now, it's going to happen.
I would love to
eat
with me. That would be the best day in the world. It would be awesome.
And I love that you brought up self-love as part of healing, because of course, like you said, we're all taught the opposite of that. It's like, no, if you love people, if you're going to love, you got to love everybody else, not yourself, because it's selfish to love yourself.
Yes.
And actually, the way you really love other people.
Sorry. I've had the coffee.
It's absolutely
the caffeine is
alcoholics. And the way you really can love other people is by first finding that love within yourself for yourself, because you can love people on a whole new level if you really find that love for yourself. It is. And it's like, and you also find, as you were saying, the people that come into your life and that you can share with it, the whole thing shifts, because you're not drawing in these people who are mirroring your bad behaviors towards yourself anymore. You're drawing in people who are mirroring your love for yourself. And that's a whole different game. And it's awesome. Yeah.
The alignment. And it's funny, I've always been a person, I'm a 12th houser. So I'm a heavy 12th houser. Like I have a stellium in Virgo in 12th house. So my mind, the way my mind works is in overdrive. Like and it doesn't anymore, but the way that my mind used to work is like, I would be thinking all day long and it would never stop and never stop. I couldn't sleep, things like that. So I totally lost what we were talking about.
Self-love.
We were talking about
the whole.
Cheese. Yeah. Swiss cheese brain. I get it all the time.
It is Swiss cheese brain.
I think I'm perimenopausal. That's what I'm blaming it on.
Wow. Oh yeah. I was just going to talk about not being hard on yourself. That was the thing that I was going to. That's what it was. But yeah, through that process, definitely.
And I want to talk about that self-love thing as well. Because circling back to that, what you attract, that's the thing, isn't it? When you do this healing journey and you have the healing crisis, you have the health problems, then you attract the relationships. come into your life, and it's just showing you, and it's that God's the bloody stew of karmic relationships I've had have been ridiculous, but that's the thing, and they're all there to teach you.
Oh
But
yes.
the quicker we can kind of go, well, what is it showing me? The quicker you can get through it, because then that's when you find the one. Or that's what we're feeling anyway.
The hindsight 2020 that I was talking about, and getting to not being hard on yourself. That's where I was. But in leading into that, it's like having to like look at the person that you used to be and the person that you don't want to be anymore. But also your shadow, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand. You hide a lot of the amazing parts of you in your shadow, because people told you like either it wasn't good enough, or like, oh, you're not going to make any money as an artist. So people like hide that stuff a lot in there, you know. So like when we talk about our shadows and our darkness, it's not just the bad parts of who, you know, it's not just like I can be a little obnoxious and annoying sometimes, you know, like I'm aware of that. I don't really try to stop being that. Like if you can be around my obnoxious and annoying, then awesome. If not, then I'm not really going to change. But you also find the amazing things. And once you do, you can shout that out too. And when people see that, that alignment happens.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. One person's obnoxious and annoying is another person's darling and endearing. Yes. That's the difference, isn't it? And you are darling and endearing. So that's the thing.
See, that's it.
Yeah, we live with Betsy. And that's the thing about, oh, go on, Kirsten. I'm waffling on.
I was going to say, if people don't recognize that as darling and endearing, then they're not your people. And that's fine. It's like, it's okay. It's fine, because somebody else will recognize that, and those people are your people. So go ahead,
Sam.
I'm sorry.
No,
because we hold on so hard to people that don't like the annoying and the obnoxious, and we hold on to it. And it's like, why are you torturing yourself? Why are you torturing yourself with dissonance like that? That's so silly.
It is.
I mean, the big thing is like rejection wounding, though, isn't it? Go on, Kirsten. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. It's part of that wounding where you're like, well, if I can just prove to this person how adorable and wonderful I am, then I'll be healed, because then this person will see me as, rather than recognizing that I have to see myself that way and then choose who I share that with. And if if this person doesn't appreciate me, then that's just telling me that they're not my person.
Well,
rather than I've got to prove it, because if I can prove it to this person, and I went through that so much with, particularly with men, like I've got to prove how wonderful I am to this man, and then I'll be healed. All my wounds will be healed. And it's not going to help. It's just going to keep you in that loop.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You're pushing out and trying to put in what you need to find inside. That's exactly what you mean. So, because you're like, oh, this person will love me if I just, and it's no, that person's never going to love you, because that person doesn't want the real you. And that was the big lesson for me. When I first started doing, the penny consciously thing on Twitter, I was penny consciously because I was nursing, and I had a few extreme views, as people have obviously found out. But it gave me this kind of anonymity to explore who I actually was. And I found that a lot of the things that I was doing it was peeling back the layers and peeling back the faces of who I actually was, because I didn't feel like I was good enough with who I am, and that's been the whole point of this podcast. There's a time of day I wouldn't have even come on camera. I'd have been like, oh, I've got double chins. My boobs are too big. My hair's too big. Whatever, I've got obviously Sagittarius, so I'm more Jupiter, so I'm big. I've got big personality. I've got big body. I've got big boobs. And do you know what? Not everybody's going to like that. And I had to come to a place where I'm like, do you know what? This is who I am. This is my expression of the goddess, and this is what every woman needs to find in themselves. We're all different. We're all created, but we've all got that, like, and I love it because it's like you said, Venus Day today. I'm really feeling those like goddessy energies. Mm-hmm. It's all about embodying the goddess. Like, have you got curves? Have you got big lips? Have you got like sultry eyes? There's always something that's really beautiful about yourself. And the thing that really found that helped me kind of with the physical self-acceptance, because that was always a big one, was finding the bits that I actually liked about myself and just starting from there. And then you can give yourself the framing to look at yourself in a better context, you know. And another thing as well, sorry, I'm going on a bit of a waffle. However you look, the most attractive thing is confidence. Because that's when you're confident and you love yourself, you know. It doesn't matter if you're fat, thin, brown, white, you know, whether you've got big hair, small hair. You could have one boob that's tiny and one boob that's massive, but if you're confident and you own it, do you know, that's fucking attractive.
You're so right. You're so right.
I agree.
It's more the energy that you exude rather than your actual physical appearance.
Something that I've really learned in the last few years, because I've like the ego battles that I've had to go through with myself about my worth and being the cancer girl. Like I didn't want to be the fucking cancer girl, you know, and like the doctors are telling me I'm going to have this for the rest of my life. What? Like that's like, well, first of all, that wasn't okay with me. I like debunked that one a long time ago, but just being told that, just hearing those words, like you have to go through the ego, like everything, you know, not just the silly societal worth standards, you know, you have to go through like who's going to want to fucking take care of me kind of thing. Like who's, and then you realize, oh, well, I'm going to take care of myself. That's how it's going to go. And no matter who it is that's around me and who is like helping me in that moment or caring for me in that moment, like I have come to terms with the fact that I do have to have people around me. I do need to be in contact with people on a regular basis. Like, and that's something my very independent woman who could do anything and build businesses and whatever, raise 3 boys without any men around, like watch me raise the best boys ever. I couldn't, you know, I can't do that anymore. Like I can't be that like independent masculine side of me anymore. And I had to learn to be okay with that. And I had to learn how to be softer. And I had to learn to welcome people into my life that helped that softness instead of being, you know, more like anytime I feel aggression coming towards me, I'm like, nope, like not doing that. That's not happening. I'm not doing that anymore. And I, you know, like that's something that we don't really think about when we're aligning with people and connections. And like, you know, when like it goes back to learning who you are. It's we chase and sometimes attract what we need in order to heal, like what our soul in that moment needs to heal. And sometimes it's really painful. Sometimes it's really beautiful and ends up really painful. But I have found that every single time that my heart has broken from a connection, mostly from men, but women too, like women have really broken my heart a lot of times. And every single time my heart's gotten bigger and I've been able to love myself more and I've been able to love other people more and other people love me more. And it has nothing to do with what I look like. It has everything to do with the energy around me and what I have done for myself. And I think that that's what we're all kind of striving to do. Like when I say we all, like you, us three, we're striving to be like, show people that this is how creating your life looks when you love yourself. This is, you know, it's not pretty all the time. Like, you know, all 3 of us can go online and be like, having a really shit day. This is not fantastic. I'm going to be out for a while. Peace, you know? And I think that that's beautiful that we can be raw like that and show other people like this is, you know, sometimes you need solitude and sometimes you need people.
Exactly. And that's so beautiful. And I mean, that's one of the things, and that's one of the things when I first connected with Sam that I really admired about her, because I was like, you know, we've got all these spiritual people on here, you know, and I post lots of flowers and lots of nice things, but
I love it.
But the rawness and the ability to say, well, actually, I'm not in a very good space right now, and that's okay. because there are so many so-called spiritual people who will put a guilt trip on you for saying those things. And it's like, no. And I really want us, and that's one of the things I love about all three of us, to be able to show that other side and say, look, there's nothing wrong with you if you wake up and you feel like shit and you've had bad things happen to you and you're just not, or maybe nothing bad has happened to you, you're just not in a good mood right now, and I'm not in a good place, and that's okay too. And it's okay to lie down on the floor and sob your heart out, because that's part of life. And there are so many people who are going to tell you that's not okay. If you're being a spiritual person, you can't do that. You have to just be, talk about unicorns and rainbows. That's spirituality. And it's like, no, spirituality is the whole freaking enchilada. It's all of it. And
exactly,
I really love that about all three of us, that we can show that to people. And because I think that's what people really need to see now. We've had too much false light, like bullshit. If you're not all love and light, then you're not spiritual. It's everywhere. And yeah. So I love that.
I feel the rage inside of you, Kirsten. It's like, get it out. Ban it. Let me go get the
thing, isn't it? It's repression. It's repression. And it comes down to that being authentic. Yeah. How can you trust somebody? And how can you relate to somebody that isn't authentic? Because you never know what's going on under the surface. That's kind of what I found anyway. Like, if somebody comes to me and like, Sam, blah, blah, I'd be like, do you know what? Don't talk to me. I'm in a fucking vile mood. I'm going to go angry cry upstairs for 15 minutes. But then, do you know what? I'll be all right. And I come back down and I sit and I listen to you. I say it to my kids. I mean, my kids think I'm batshit crazy. I'm not going to lie.
No, they don't. I will promise you they don't. And I can say that because I have 2 adult children that I thought was going to think I was batshit crazy. And they thank me all the time for showing them. And these are men, like 2 grown men now, who thank me all the time for being like, thanks for letting me, showing me how to show emotions. Because that it's healthy. Your kids don't think you're batshit, I promise.
I mean, they do say I'm a bit batshit, I'm not going to lie.
But you say you're batshit. So
I do, yeah. I do, yeah. Yeah. I am. It's fine.
Like, you can't. Let's be honest with ourselves, Samantha.
I'm not lying about it. I'm absolutely 110% honest in who I am. They're like, oh, Mum's going up on the spiritual stuff again. And I'll come in and they're like, oh, the light opens, oh, she's meditating. Just sit, we'll give her 5 minutes. I'll be like, I don't do that, by the way. They just take the mick out, maybe, yeah.
Yoga, though, is really good for you, doing the ohms and stuff. I used to feel really stupid. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Making all the noises with your mouth, but it's so good for you to like open this part up, and it also helps you not have double chins. Just saying,
it's true, and it's also a frequency. When you're hitting you're hitting a certain frequency, and it really does. And even any of those mantras, and I still do mantras to this day. When in my yoga training, I mean, that was one of the first, we didn't do a class without oming and having some chanting, because it was very traditional, unlike a lot of the stuff we get in America. But it's really healing, and it sets a frequency. So it influences, even if you think it's not doing anything and you feel stupid sitting there going, it actually is it's really healing and good, and it also clears you out. I've noticed that sometimes when I chant, I'll feel the toxins leaving my body.
You would say bowels then, wouldn't you? I feel the toxins. That's the diarrhea.
Yeah. I gotta stop. Gotta go.
That's it, yeah. on a related note, though, because it's like the same sort of thing with the sound healing. When I've not been to a gong bath, because I'm obviously training to be a sound healer. If I've not been to a gong bath or whatever for a while, and I go and it goes through me, I'm like, oh, good, I can feel it, and you have this massive purge. and you're like so dehydrated. Honestly, it does it literally. The sound does it. It reformats all your, without being too woo woo. Obviously, everything is a fractal, isn't it? And it's all template. So what it's doing is it's setting the cymatics of the fractal within your body, and realigning yourself. And that's why the water unique. That's why I get dehydrated, basically.
It is
precisely. Because you articulated that very well, and I'm not so good at articulating stuff like that. So thank you.
The sound like literally goes straight into your cells and DNA and changes all of that as well. That's one really big thing I started doing Kriya Yoga for, is to change the frequency and tone that was going through. Because like when you use your vocal cords, it goes all the way down your spine and then flies out. I said flies out, but that's really like the way that I see it when I'm doing it myself. I see the energy starting up here, going all the way down my spine, and then wrapping itself around. And I mean, like, and that's one of the shamanic things when you kind of pair them together. Because I tell people, like, I go into my body and I talk to my cells. Like, I will talk to my red blood cells and I will talk to my bone marrow. And I'll be like, listen, motherfucker, like, we're not doing these. I just had another MRI done on my brain, and they saw some like scarring inside the bone marrow, which shows that it's still doing it. But now I know where to target. It was up here. So now I like actually, and so to me, like I've had, I don't know, not exaggerating, like 35 MRIs in the last 4.5 years. And that's a lot of magnets. So when you're doing the Om, when you're doing the frequency, when you're doing the activated charcoal, when you have the contrast, when you're doing all of those things to counteract what the world's trying to do to you, that's the way I think about that. And it's all the way down to the stuff that I have to do regularly to be monitored and to be, whatever. Like every time the world, I used to feel like the world was attacking me, but I'm creating this. So every time the world comes towards me and I feel like I'm being attacked in some way, I change the thought process. I change the way that goes, and that starts in your cells.
That's empowerment. Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And I don't want people to have to go through what I went through to learn that. I want people to be able to, and I know that you have to be initiated in some way. I know that you have to go through life experiences in order to be humbled in ways. I understand that, but like, I don't want it to be as harsh as what happened to me for it to get there, I don't want that.
And that's beautiful. Sam and I both have that same, because there was no roadmap for me.
Me neither.
And we would really like to offer that roadmap to people so they know, well, I have to walk through this, and obviously everyone's path is different, but I think it's so important, especially now, because now we really are getting to the healing crisis of the whole collective. And it's really important that people recognize what they, basically have a roadmap, and they don't have to go on the exact same path, but there are all kinds of guideposts and signposts that we can share. So it's not as scary and completely foreign as it was when I started walking through this, and probably when you did, Betsy, and when Sam did. And that's, I mean, if we can do that, we're doing.
I wanted to exactly touch on something you were saying about that, Kirsten, actually, because what Betsy actually said was she was talking about like the sound healing, talking to the cells. There's the shamanic aspect. There's the Kriya aspect. I love Kriya Yoga, by the way. Our friend Steve will have had a bit of a sex wee when you started talking about it. He'd been like, another Kriya person. That's amazing. He wants it just to take over the world. And when he first started telling us, I was like, all right, then, Steve, chill your beans. And I started doing it, and I was like, this is just like magic.
It is.
It really.
But what I'm saying is, we use different modalities, don't we? We can pick and choose. And they've all got some kind of overlap. I mean, even like going to Tantra. So when I first started doing Tantra, my Tantra teacher was like, then you need to talk to your vagina. And I was like, what? But But it's true, because all of your body has consciousness. I mean, people are going to laugh at that, but it's true.
It's true.
It's got a name. It's got a name and everything. So yeah, she. But this is the thing. Like, if you're wanting to connect, if you've got a problem, so if you've had any sexual trauma or anything, that's going to be the first thing to do, is to get in your body. If you've had any kind of trauma, if you're chronically angry, get in your liver, whatever. Do you know what I mean? And this is the thing. It's never going to look the same for one person, but it's figuring out your own kind of process and figuring out where to start. So what is the problem? And then you can kind of pick and choose and get the bits that kind of resonate with you. But you then like you were saying, Betsy, there's a lot of overlap. There's overlap with the shamanic, the sound healing, you know, all of it. It all comes back to managing your energy, essentially, your emotions and your physical and non-physical bodies, and getting in there. And that's one of the big things, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
Something that I learned just through the working with people for 7-8 years in healing process. One of the things that I learned is when I use tarot or when I use astrology, I'm also tapping into my shamanic and Reiki, and I'm also tapping into the Akashic records. And I'm also, you know, like, I don't have to have, like, here, let me have a shamanic reading. Here, let me have an Akashic reading. Here, let me do, because I've found, and people, and like, I literally put this up one day and everybody kind of went, what? Like, they didn't, like, they don't really quite, they're like, well, why would you, I mean, why would tarot and the Akashic, and I'm like, think about it. If I'm giving you advice from your guides, they're literally pulling the book to tell me what to like, what, why would that be, you know? And so I think that the more I talk about it and the more you talk, the more we talk about how you don't have to choose just one path to go. When your soul, like, my soul led me to be a shaman. My soul led me to be a death doula. Those opportunities came to me. I didn't want to be a shaman. Are you kidding? Going through shamanic initiations is the hardest fucking thing to do. And when people seek it out, they don't realize that. And then all of a sudden their life is upside down and they have to divorce their husband and like do all these things, you know, and they don't realize things like that. And so it's, yeah, you know, teaching people that it's not just, you know, the spiritual aspect of things is not in a box, just like the rest of the world isn't in a box.
Well, that comes like back to the live and light thing, doesn't it? Like, we'll be a shaman and we'll heal the world. It's like, no, love. What you're going to do is you're going to spend 5 years going into all your trauma. You're going to lose your friends, your families are going to think you're crazy. You're going to move across the country 4 times. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna lose people. There's going to be a theme of death because it's all about death and rebirth. You're going to have to face your own mortality, and it's like, I mean, I've got a lot of like scorpionic influences in, you know, in my chart anyway, and like Pluto and all that shit. So I'm really well versed of like going into the underworld. But that's literally what it is. You're going on a death and rebirth cycle over and over and over again, and that's the thing what the diseases and everything teaches. You know. It's how many times can you die and be reborn, and it's not a nice process. Even when you've done it a lot and you're used to it. Right. There's still attachments, you know, and that's the big thing, isn't it? It's the attachments. It always comes down to what we're holding on to, and why are we holding on to it? Why do we need this thing to make us feel safe? Essentially, and that's kind of what I'm getting. That's the process that I'm at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. We go through it over and over and over again, and you know, no one told me that when I stepped onto the spiritual healing path, that my life would be completely disrupted and dissolved. And, you know, and that's one of the things I think it's really important to tell people, because people have this impression. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go on a shamanic journey and I'm just going to be, you know, I'm going to be like Don Juan and everything's just going to be wonderful, and I'm going to have.
Let me bring my little sample with me of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, this is awful. What is happening to me? Everything is fucked up. I'm, you know, oh my God. I
Oh
must
my
have done
God,
something wrong.
we've got flaming diarrhea.
Flaming diarrhea, and I'm so mad at everyone. I just want to kill people. And that's like, okay, this is
You're
something you've been
bringing
living
out the realness today, Betsy. Obviously, you're really nice. Yeah.
I mean, I am here to bring the real. That is all, all that I exist for.
You did identify mine as rage. Mine is rage. I'm just like, I'm so mad.
I mean, and it definitely isn't the kind of rage that you're like holding inside your body. It's very divine. It's very like, like this, it reminds me of my friend Stephanie. She's the same way. She's very much, and she even said to me one time, she's like, I don't know how you got rid of that. And I'm like, I just can't hold that, and it's not even like the holding, it's just, I can't feel that rage anymore. Like my body just won't let me. I can get angry, I can get frustrated, I can get mad. But when I see people act in a certain way these days, I'm just like, they're either going to figure it out or they're not. And there's really like, I've just learned for things, I have to let everything come to me instead of me being like, I got to fix this because I'm in rage, or I got to do this because I see, like, I think people, are doing it wrong, or I'm seeing it wrong. And I feel like I've been there before where like I probably needed a little more guidance and I needed a roadmap and stuff like that. And so I feel like now I come from more of a grounded, contained place. Often in the past, when I would do readings for people, they'd be like, you need to slow down when you're talking. And I would be like, you're absolutely right. I do. So now I'm like more consciously aware of like when I'm talking and when I'm not talking, and what I'm saying, and the emotions that are coming out. It's like you just become very, I think when you have learned how to love yourself, and you have like you've spent that much time, with yourself, it just becomes something where it's like, I can't let other people do that. I can't let the situations in life, I can't let this reality is nothing. I can't control any of that shit. All I can do is control what I'm doing. And so I love the divine rage that comes out of you guys. I just don't ever want you to hold on to it. And, because it's not, people are going to be who they're going to be. They're just, and,
You're right.
Yeah. So
it's choosing peace, isn't it?
Of me sometimes where I just want people to like act right, but you can't do anything about it.
I know.
It's a choice.
And I've really had
peace is a choice. It is. Gone so, Kirsten.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. In the past 2 weeks, I've been releasing a lot of really deep, deep rage. And I realized that I was hanging on to that rage because when I was young and I was in a very abusive relationship, I was married to a very abusive man. And that rage was what helped me survive that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I've been, but I still every once in a while just, and Sam can attest to this. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm so mad. Of course, I'm in Aries, and so I get, I have that fire thing, and I'm like, I'm just going to burn all of the bridges in this entire area now because I'm pissed off. And I've had to really learn how to navigate that in a way that doesn't cause destruction in its wake. But
she normally does it by shouting motherfucker. I'll be honest. She'll be like, motherfucker. Oh, there we go. I'm like, right, I'm going to give you 5 minutes and then I'm going to make you laugh.
That's right. I shout motherfucker at Sam, and then she's like, what about this? This is funny. And it's wonderful.
Go ahead.
But anyway, the thing is that even on the journey that I've been on for years, I've been on this journey for, a couple of decades now. I still find these pockets and these areas where I'm like, oh, I'm still hanging on to this. I'm still hanging on to that. And so I think the other thing that a lot of people don't recognize is that this is an ongoing process, and there may be an end to it sometime, but I don't know. I've never seen that, but
well, you're not dead yet.
Yeah, I'm not dead yet. And so it's another thing of you're not just going to be like, oh, everything's fixed now and I'm fine and everything's beautiful all the time and I'm beautiful. And it doesn't really, at least in my experience, it doesn't work like that. You'll get to a deeper level and then you go, oh yeah, I'm holding on to this now. And why am I holding on to this? How has it served me? And is it serving me still? And if it's not,
it doesn't get us in. It lessens in intensity, and you develop the tools to manage it better. That's the difference. But life is always gonna life. That's the problem. It's not even a problem. It's just life, isn't it? You're always going to find challenging people. You're always going to have challenging situations. Things aren't always going to go quite to plan. But it's like, what's in your toolbox? And that's the whole point of the spiritual journey. You build up this toolbox, and it's like, oh well, I'm going to pull this out of my toolbox, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some meditation or whatever. And it might even, I'm going to like beat the shit out of a wall outside just to get it all out, because I know it's like, whatever, building up. I used to have cracked plates and I used to save them, and they used to be like, whoop-ah! Just to get it out.
You make really good art with cracked plates.
Yeah. I should have probably set them up, but
that was like the first thing that came to mind. I'm like, I want to make a table with some cracked plates. I don't know why it's like that. Why does my brain?
Oh, yeah, with like a resin top.
Cool, though? Like, make a coffee table with like, I have like colored glue in my head right now with the.
Ooh,
I have no idea.
Seeing resin. I'm seeing like some kind of like what's it called? Like crystal style. Like there's geodes that you can create with resin. Yeah.
Yeah.
The neighbor in me is just like, let's get creative. Makes me beautiful.
Do it because it sounds like a lot of work, but the cracking plate sounds like a lot of fun to do that. It's just
I've got Wedgwood plates. So I'm not gonna break those. Yeah. I've got one that's chipped actually, and I cried. So I was like, oh, I've chipped my Wedgwood plate.
My favorite coffee mug chipped, and I was like, you're only 6 months old. What the like, people do not make things well anymore. It's very sad.
They don't. Oh yeah, don't get me started on teapots, man.
Really, what have you done? Seriously.
How many teapots have you gone through?
For fuck's sake. No, honestly, I love it. She does. I'm going to wind it up now. I'm going to let her go because it's like a comedy routine. She's like, people make stuff and they don't even work. And like, what's the point in making it? And I bought this and I got it home and I got 3 of the exact same thing and not one of them fucking works. And what is the point of it? That's useless. And I was just like, I love it. Honestly, it's great. I might do it again.
Obviously, people can make teapots that don't drip when you pour. So why do so many fucking people make these damn teapots that drip when you pour?
It's like I am with you. It is a flaw and it is rude and I don't understand it either. And I have several teapots as well because of that reason. So
yeah, I have several as well. And I even have one that the tea pours out of the lid. Because the way it's designed, you can't just pour it out of the spout. It's going to come out of the lid at the same time. It's like, why the fuck did you design a teapot? Like, it was just
look what you've done.
Are you a moron?
What you've fucking done. We're going to teapots. That's it now. We've lost her. No, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, that's my thing.
I'm sorry. I'm coming back. No,
it's a real thing. Why make a teapot that doesn't pour? Do you know who made that? That was made by the devil. There's a devil's factory, and what he does is he's got all this shit that he makes just to piss people off, and he's like, right, this is going to go to you, and this is going to go to you, and then I'm going to come visit you, and you're having a bad day, and you're going to put your tail over the table.
I don't think that it's the devil doing it. I think that God does that to us because
I think he does. I'm kidding. Go on.
I really think that God is the one that is like, let me give her this crappy product just once. I got to see it. I got to see if she's going to be triggered. I mean, it's not just people that trigger you in life.
And then the kicker is you're actually good and you've done it yourself.
You are actually God.
And I get triggered still. People mostly don't trigger me, but inanimate objects, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You do not do the thing that you're supposed to. Why do you exist if you cannot even do the one thing that you're supposed to do? Like that. And I find myself hearing that, and I'm like, okay, I need to dial that back because
I
obviously
love that
have
Samantha's
a
over
little
here
bit.
just going, yeah, you too.
Heard it a few times.
Wow.
Strikes me every time, yeah. I agree. I agree.
I'm sorry, you got.
That's what happens
Yeah.
when you live in the woods for a really long time without people around you. So people stop triggering you, but inanimate objects trigger you. That's what that makes a lot of sense, actually.
That's it.
And you feel freaked out about it because nobody's going to hear you anyway. So
No, right. Well, that's like what the universe does. Like something has to trigger you, so it's going to find another way, because your soul wants to be triggered in some way to heal and be aware. I guess maybe sometimes it's not even about healing. It's just being aware of who you are. Like, this is who I am. Should I be this way? Or should I maybe, but I feel like that's sort of what the energy, because, when we talk about how our own energy, our own intentions, our own thoughts, our feelings, that's what's creating all of this, right? And so when you think about it, if you're like, people don't trigger me, but inanimate objects do, and you're like by yourself most of the time. I mean, I know when you have your yoga classes, and I mean, being on social media too, but I just love the way the energy in the universe works to trigger us, to make us be more aware of ourselves. That's kind of awesome.
That's such a good point, Betsy. I never even saw it that way. Thank you for pointing that out. Because I'm like, oh,
I'm just like listening, and I'm like, oh damn. Well, and it comes with trial and error in life a lot of times, because you get annoyed by shit, and then it's like, okay, well, how do I fix this? How do I make this better so I'm not annoyed? Because I feel like most of us are just searching for peace when it's really inside of us all the time. We just have to find peace with the stupid inanimate objects that don't work correctly, and stuff like that. So, and with me, especially when it came to food and my health and doing things, I still do it. For example, I have to get car rides to my medical appointments, and sometimes those motherfuckers are late, and sometimes my appointments are only a mile away, and I'll be like, I'm going to walk this mile, and I'm going to walk the mile back because I can, and I'm still able to, and I'm not going to. And I feel like the universe does that to me to be like, you can still do this. You can still create other ways of you creating your reality instead of being annoyed and frustrated all the time. So I don't know. I just wanted to, I'm glad I could bring that to your attention. I just love how the universe works.
I do too. It's such a beautiful tapestry that we are woven into.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
Such a wild ride.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I'm just thinking my phone's gonna die.
Oh, okay.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want that to happen right on camera. So I appreciate you guys having me. I had so much fun. I really
Me too. Thank you for coming, and we'd love to have you again for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, bring bacon. Bring some food porn next time.
Oh, okay.
Did we lose you?
I will.
You can be like, this is a cookie, and this is a.
Well, that's interesting. It looks like we've lost everyone. I don't know.
Oh.
There.
No, yeah,
like, we're done. We're done with you, ladies.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
All right, we got to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Betsy. This was an awesome conversation, and we're actually, I think this will be posted today. So yay!
Oh, yay!
We're so grateful to you, and we will have you again. And yeah, Sam, are you gonna take us out of here?
Yeah. Thanks, Evaners, and we'll see you next time. Catch you on the flip side.
All right, bye.
Bye.